Well guys, here we are in the workshop, and today it's about 40 degrees C and very hot and windy. Decided not to go riding today, so instead we're going to have a chat about all the bits and pieces that I've added to the NX500 and what do I think of some of those extras that we fitted. Let's have a look at the costs and we'll run through the list. Now the bike purchased here in Australia, registered on the road right away, take it home, is $11,200 when you talk a deal, and I've added the Honda factory heated grips. Don't need them now, but ready for next winter, and that was $300. So $11,500 on the road with factory heated grips. That's the starting point. Next thing I added was the SRC skid plate, $430. We have the bark busters, $240 there. The USB socket, which I bought myself off eBay for $25 and fitted that. The foot pegs, somewhere around about $80. I bought those off AliExpress. They're not actually for this bike, so I did have to modify them a little bit to make them fit. Wasn't too hard, but they do the job quite well. K&N air filter through Amazon was $114. Engine covers, now that's the R&G Racing engine covers, or copies of perhaps, but I bought those through Amazon for $120, much cheaper than direct through the company. Arrow exhaust from eBay, and a supplier or seller on eBay was called Genial Motor. I'll put that up on the bottom of the screen. $610 for that exhaust, but well worth it, I think. Exhaust hanger bracket, AliExpress. This one is a copy, and that one was $37 instead of about $160. Hepco and Becker crash bars, absolutely brilliant. Ordered those direct from Hepco Becker in Germany, sent over to me here in Australia, delivered for $385, and pretty easy to fit. And I really love those crash bars because they bolt directly to the frame, so that's another point to think about. The 16 tooth front sprocket was around about $30 odd, and that's JT part number I'll show you. I'll put that up on the screen as well. The brake lever knob, which is a knob or knurled aluminium knob. You'll see that in another episode. I cut the rubber thing off and got rid of that, replaced it. eBay $14. The tallest screen is called a touring screen. That was from MRA. It's not on the bike right now, but I've played with screens a fair bit, and we'll talk about those in another episode. But that tall screen from MRA was $230, and I'm not using it, so we'll talk about that later. Screen protector, which is like your mobile phone screen protector. It's like a thin film you stick on the screen of your phone to protect it. I did that on the dash of the bike. That was AliExpress and just $10. Key ring, of course, $13 from AliExpress. The foot enlarger, money well spent, great idea, shouldn't be without it for soft ground. AliExpress $24, bargain buy, well worth it. Radiator guard, eBay $55. It is powder coated aluminium, it's quite thin. Yeah, it's okay. If any big rocks or large rocks, branches, things are probably going to push into it and do some damage, but certainly better than nothing, and I think there are better ones out there. Bar risers. These are ROX risers I fitted on the bike as soon as I got it home, and ROX risers, as in ROX, I actually had in the drawer here, and they've been there for 12 years from a 2009 Suzuki 650 V-Strom I once had for a number of years, and eventually when I sold it I took them off and kept them, and they fitted perfectly on the NX500. So that was great, but if you were to buy those today, they're $180. USB plug adapter, $13 off Amazon, fitted on the dash as opposed to $50 from Honda, the exact same thing, and I fitted that myself. Don't forget to go into the left side of your bike, take that cover off, and there's a plug there, a blank plug not used, which has a purple wire and a green wire. The purple is positive and the green is earth. Pretty easy to remember. So there you go. Center stand, I should add that one in, $112 off eBay as well. and I wasn't really going to fit a centre stand, but I'm really glad I did. It's been fantastic. So I love having the centre stand. And I also have, but not fitted, I'll show you these. These are what's called the genuine Honda pannier racks, which I bought from the dealer for $385. And what they don't tell you is you also need to buy the rack, which fits onto your bike, goes around the back of the bike, and then this bolts to the rack. So to be able to mount these on the bike, you also now just need to spend another $450 extra to get the rack that goes around the back of the bike so you can bolt these to it. I'm not going to be doing that, and I'm going to show you why and what I'm going to do in a future episode. And by the way, if anyone recognises this shape, this is SW Motec. Yes, these racks are made by SW Motec for Honda and many other bikes. And the reason I particularly want to fit these on is from a previous bike. I have the SW Motec mounting plate, that's it there, which is a quick release plate. And you can see those 3 mounting points. That fits straight on, and I've got the Rotopax 6.6 litre jerry can there, and I've also got a 9 litre fuel bladder, which I used in episode 1. But I also have the mounting brackets to fit my panniers onto these racks. So I'm going to be persevering and getting these racks fitted to the bike. You'll see that in the coming months ahead. So all up, total spend on this bike so far, and I haven't mentioned suspension. The suspension on this bike is still stock standard, haven't changed it. And I have found that the standard suspension is quite good. I won't say excellent, it's very good for on-road. And the easy off-road I did last episode, it didn't go too badly. When I did the airborne jump, it was only a low jump. It did bottom out just and spring back up. So it could have some improvement on suspension if you're going to be riding off-road and doing small jumps like that. It probably needs some suspension work, but for everything else, the normal road riding, I found it quite good, very comfortable, and fork dive is very minimal. Typically on brand new bikes, the standard suspension, it does dive quite heavily in the forks. These don't. They're actually quite good, so quite impressed with the standard suspension on this bike. Now, performance, let's talk about that. The 16 tooth is a revelation. It transforms the bike. Everybody should have that, I think, for pretty much most riding that you do. It is a very low geared bike. First gear particularly is quite low. Now, in the easy off-road bush track ride that I did, that was done, as you see it here, with the 16 tooth front sprocket, and there was some steep hill climbs in that as well, which doesn't really show up on camera, but those steep hill climbs, no problem at all with a 16 tooth front. In first gear, it's still quite low. Standard tyres as well, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to ride in those bush tracks where we normally ride the mountain bike in and do our testing for those episodes. Now, performance. The Arrow exhaust and the K&N air filter make a big difference as well. So even though you may lose a very, very small amount of torque by gearing up into a taller gear with a 16 tooth front sprocket, the Arrow exhaust, free-flowing exhaust, and the K&N filter do actually pick up, I think, maybe a couple of horsepower. It's possibly close to 50 horsepower an hour over the standard 47 from the factory, and it makes a big difference. I won't say a huge difference, but it makes a big difference, and it's definitely noticeable and definitely a lot of fun to ride now. So highly recommend the sports exhaust, in this case the Arrow, K&N air filter, 16 tooth front sprocket, and it completely transforms this bike. It is a lot of fun to ride. Comfort. Well, that's where we talk about screens, and we also talk about the seat. Now, you can see here, I've actually scooped out the seat, and I've got an episode specifically on the seat modification that I did. The end result is, I didn't think I took much out of the seat foam. I did reshape it. I chopped the square edges off and rounded the seat, so that makes a huge difference rounding it instead of the square edges. And also where your bum is, I spooned it out. I scooped out a lot in the foam there where your backside sits. and really comfortable now. You're not sliding forward anymore, you're sitting flat on the seat and really comfortable on the bike. It's great. Now, we just measured the seat height on this bike yesterday. I don't really know why, but we measured it. We put a spirit level across, took a tape measure, and it's actually 800. Yes, you heard that right. 800 seat height on this bike. I'm pretty sure I didn't take 30 mil worth of foam out of the seat. Might have taken 15, possibly 20, but I can't imagine that I took that much foam out. But for some reason, this bike has a seat height in the lowest point, 800. So for me, 174 centimetres and 5'9", I sit quite easily on this bike. So here we go, sitting on this bike, throw my leg over, and I can adjust flat foot. So just there, I've got my both feet flat on the ground, 31-inch inseam, which is 5'9" in total height, and or 174 centimetres. That's really important to take into account when people talk about buffeting off screens, and they talk about legs being cramped. It all depends on your leg length, your total body length, your height. But look at this, sitting flat-footed. It's really comfortable. I love the position on this bike now, and I could ride this all day, no problem. I'm no surfboard shaper, and I won't get any jobs building surfboards and shaping them, but reshaping the seat made a big difference, and I'm very happy with it. And best part, cost me nothing. Guys, modifications to bikes and the money we spend on them. Well, who buys a bike stock standard off the showroom floor and never touches it and leaves it completely alone as is? I doubt that anyone really does that, and if there are anyone out there, they're missing out on a few really worthwhile improvements. Now, let's have a quick talk about some of my previous bikes. And all my previous bikes I'm talking about are adventure bikes, right back through to my very first bike, which is a Suzuki DRZ 250. I learnt on that one, then moved up to the DR650, had an SV 650, I had the 2009 V-Strom 650. They didn't have XTs back then. Brilliant bike, and I did 7,500 kilometre road trip on that around Central Australia and back here, and did that in 10 days. So it was a brilliant long outback trip. Really not much off-road at all with that one. The next bike, let's see, we had the BMW F800 GS, and I did the 2014 BMW Safari, and there is a video on YouTube for that one from the Safari channel, or BMW channel that do those videos. Brilliant bike. I had that one 4.5 years and did 36,000 kilometres. And did quite a few modifications to that bike. Paid $20,000 for it, spent $2,500 on Woody's wheels from America to get the shiny chrome wheels, or the polished alloy wheels, because I didn't like the black rims, didn't like black wheels. The next bike was the R1200 GS, 2016 model. 1200 GS, again, paid $27,000 for it, spent $3,000 on extras, and it was an awesome bike. Loved that bike, but I didn't use it much, and a lot of reasons end up selling that bike. And I ended up going back to a Suzuki DR650, and that one I bought second hand with just 400 kilometres on it. That was a 2018 model, lovely white DR650, basically brand new. It was barely even a demo, if you like, but I bought it private sale for $7,000, and I then spent $5,000 on it, modifying that bike. Yes, total cost of that bike was $7,000 purchase plus $5,000 spend, $12,000 I spent building that Suzuki DR650. And you know what? I really regret selling that bike, and I wish I still had it. I guess the really only downside, after I did all the modifications to it, it's still a carburettor, it still had a manual choke, and that was a little bit of a fiddly thing to deal with. But besides that, awesome bike, I loved it, and to this day I wish I'd never sold it. Then we moved into the Tenere 700. Now the Tenere 700 was a big improvement through so many things, and really we wanted fuel injection amongst other improvements. So there was a $19,000 bike that also spent $4,000 on. $23,000 Tenere 700, all the modifications including lowering, suspension work, and done by professionals, and lowered that seat height from, I think it's around about 880, 885. I got it lowered down to 835. So I dropped it by 50 mil, and it made a big difference with handling on the road, lower centre of gravity. It was fantastic, but still a very top heavy bike. Finally that went, and we now have the Honda NX500. Very, very different story with this one. It is not top heavy. It is very light, easy to handle, and certainly for me as I get older, I want to make sure I've got an easier bike to live with and continue riding for many more years to come. And the Honda NX500 is certainly going to help me do that because of its low seat height, certainly now that I've modified the seat, and also lower centre of gravity and easy bike to handle and push around in the garage, in and out of the garage, move around in the bush tracks, on and off road, wherever you want to ride it. It's just an easy, nimble bike to ride. It's a lot of fun. Just doesn't have a huge amount of horsepower, but it has enough power to do the job for you and still have a lot of fun. So we're still happy with that. Modifications to bikes, everyone's going to do them. Put your comments in down below. Tell me how much you've spent on modifying your bike and what is it. So what have you bought and how much have you spent on it after the purchase price? That'll be interesting to see.